Welcome back. I'm Reader Emerald Lotus. Today we're looking at tarot decks that I own, but I just don't use enough. We're going to be going through the decks one by one. I'm going to explain why I don't use them and if I want to use them or if I have a specific reason for not using them. Also, before we begin, all the decks are going to be listed in the caption if you want to check them out or find them somewhere. And don't forget that I am offering a charm casting course for you to use charms in your tarot reading as a part of Ethany's Tarot Summer School. If you want to register for that, registration is now open. My course launches on June 23rd. I really hope to see you there. You can find the link to that in my bio to find out more. You can just attend my specific course, or you can attend all the summer school program and really spend your summer diving into tarot and learning about other divination tools as well. So I hope that you'll check it out and let me know if you do register. I really hope to see you there. So let's get into this. First deck that I own that I find that I do not use enough is the Titanic Risen Spirits Tarot. This is a deck that I'm so sad that I don't use more because it is absolutely gorgeous. The artwork in this one is beautiful. It's very dramatic. It feels very emotional. I feel like this is the perfect deck to use during any watery season. Like we have Cancer coming up. This would be a great deck for like a Cancer full moon or new moon. I just feel like this is such a beautiful deck. It feels really evocative. Like it really makes me feel things when I look at the imagery. And as someone who really likes the lore of the Titanic, I also really love the ocean. I love boats and like passages. I feel like this is one of those decks that I definitely should be using more. I just never think to reach for it. And for some reason in my mind, I don't like it that much. And then every time I take it out, I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this deck. It's not a deck that I want to use every single day or not even every single week. But like I said, I feel like a certain time of year, certain energy, I feel like it goes so well. It's just beautiful. Like some of these pictures, it's just like a really, really well done. The cardstock is also really incredible. It's beautiful. It's high quality. It's such a nice deck that I feel very guilty that I do not use more because it's stunning. It really is stunning. And I need to use this one more. Also, the really cool thing about this deck too is that the edges of this one are like black, almost starry night. But I think because so many of the cards are blue, it actually almost looks like a blackish blue edging, which is just so unique. It's such a beautiful deck. Next up is the Essential Tarot. Now, this is another deck that I actually quite like, but I just don't find myself using very frequently. It is kind of an awkward size, I want to say. It might be a little bit bigger than sort of the standard tarot card size. Maybe not, a little bit. It is a little bit unique in its sizing, nothing crazy, but there's something about this one that I just find I do not grab for it nearly enough. And it's a real shame because it is a really gorgeous deck. So one cool thing about this deck as well is that the Devil and the Lovers are actually the exact same image. The cards themselves, it's supposed to be like a modern take on the tarot, although I would argue that modern for who? Like it doesn't feel modern to me at all, but I actually really like the artwork. I just feel like it could have been marketed better. It could have had a better name. I'm not a huge fan of the borders, and the images themselves are almost like slightly fuzzy. They're like a little bit blurry. It's maybe the art style, maybe it's chosen, maybe it's a choice, maybe it's a printing issue. I honestly don't know. But I feel like these cards on like, I don't know, some sort of like really beautiful glossy finish, borderless, and maybe marketed with a different name could be really cool because the imagery reminds me of like old animation. It kind of looks like old Disney or some sort of old like cartoon animation, which I actually am obsessed with. I like it. It's very simple as well. So I think it would resonate with a lot of people in its simplicity. But there's just something about it. It just doesn't have like that oomph that I would want in a tarot deck. And I feel like with some alterations, with some editing, with some a little bit of like light shakeup, I think it really could be a deck that a lot of people would gravitate towards and really like. It has potential, but I'm just not always grabbing towards it. It could be better. I want this deck to be more than it actually is. Next up is the Sweet Foragers Tarot. I really thought this would be a deck that I would use so much more than I actually do because there's really nothing wrong with this deck. This is just a deck that for some reason doesn't vibe with me in particular. The edging, this green, iconic. The back of the cards, such a beautiful purple. I love, love, love the illustrations on this deck. It is so cool. But for some reason, I just don't find myself using it that often. but it really is stunning. I don't know if there's a bigger version or if this is just the classic size. I can't recall, but I like the size of it. I think it's super cute. It would be great to travel with. It also feels just so inclusive, feels really like, you know, LGBT friendly, queer friendly. I really love that about it. And then it has this like very edgy kind of vibe to it while also being kind of fae-like. I feel like it has all the trappings of a deck that I would actually really enjoy using, but for some reason I just don't grab for it nearly enough. It's super cool. It's one of those decks in my collection that I really want to use more. I mean, more decks should have this lime green edging. It's so fun. Next up is the Burke Tarot. This is a deck that was sent to me by US Games during a period where I was really busy, and I feel like I didn't have a lot of time to like sit down and work with a lot of the decks that they had sent me during that period. But this is one of those decks that I've tried, but I just can't get into. A lot of the images are super close up, the idea being that these characters are really looking at you, inviting you into the journey, which I think is really cool. It's a very unique take on the Rider-Waite, but I don't know what it is. I feel like it's like a little too close, for comfort. Why are we that close, you know? I don't know. There's something about it for me that I just don't necessarily resonate with it. But then there are some cards that I just absolutely love. Like, I really love this world card. Like, I like where it's going in a lot of the cards. I just feel like I almost am getting squished by them in some weird way. And it feels like I don't know why, but it's almost like I'm not imagining the rest of the picture like I should be. You know, like in my mind, I know that I should be imagining sort of the rest of the scene and really diving into the scene. But for some reason, I'm just not. I just don't. Maybe this will change. I think that's why I hold on to this deck and why I still think it's quite cool. Because I think if you are a certain type, like this is an iconic card. That's so cool. I think if you are a certain type of visualizer or someone who sees things very creatively, you might really resonate with this deck. It's just that for me in this current phase, I don't personally resonate with it 100%. I'm also not a huge fan of the fact that it's called the Burke Tarot. It doesn't say a lot to me about the deck. Maybe I'm missing something there. But it's one of those decks that I want to love. I really do. And some of the cards I really enjoy. But at the end of the day, I just don't find myself gravitating to this one. I also don't use the Unfolding Path Tarot as much as I wish I did. I find that I rarely use it. Although it's really beautiful, I love the artistry. It feels very like movement focused. Like it kind of gives me Lightseer's Tarot energy in a sense where it feels like a lot of the cards are very much in motion. The details are incredible. The artwork is beautiful, but for some reason I just don't find myself using it. I tend to force myself to use it for collective readings on TikTok and stuff, but I don't naturally find myself drawn to it. I don't even know if I've ever really used it for a reading for myself. I've definitely never used it with a client. I don't know what it is. It's maybe the people for me are a little too like hyper real. Maybe that's what it is. I'm not sure what it is, but I don't find myself using this one enough, but it is really beautiful and there's nothing that I actually have against this deck. And there are 5 tarot decks that I just don't use enough for one reason or another. Let me know if you have any decks that are just sort of gathering dust or that you want to use that you just find yourself not using. And if you want to see an oracle deck version of this, let me know. I can also make a part 2 of tarot decks because you guys know I own so many decks. There are a lot of them that do not get the love they deserve from me. I know it's terrible, but it's just how it goes. I feel like sometimes I might feel more drawn to pick them up and some of them maybe never. But thank you so much for being here. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it and I will see you in the next one. Bye.